Good evening, everybody. Job How Martin the Metalhead here. Hope you're going well. Getting on a bus in London at Victoria Coach Station. Just going to get off the double-decker bus soon. I'm taking a bus to Stansted Airport for the third time this year. Well, actually, second time. I mean, I left from Gatwick 2 weeks ago to get to France. So, I'm going to Cork today to visit the grave of Rory Gallagher. Now, I have never ever bought a Rory Gallagher album in my life. I have listened to a Rory Gallagher record when I was in Guernsey visiting my cousin, but it just came to me that there are just so many Irish rock legends that whom I've visited. Like, I've been to where Phil Lynott is buried in Dublin. I went to Gary Moore's grave near Brighton. And so I think it's fitting that I go visit Rory Gallagher. He was an iconic guitarist in Ireland, started like in the 1960s, put out a whole bunch of albums in his lifetime, even though his career kind of dwindled in the 80s and the changing of, you know, the music scene. But literally, without Rory Gallagher, you wouldn't have so many of today's fine and amazing like guitarists. I mean, Rory Gallagher was a huge influence in Irish music and rock and roll, and I don't understand why he isn't even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, just waiting for this bus to make it stop, and I will get off. I'm actually filming on a old iPhone 6 that I stopped using this week because I'm now using an iPhone 8, so I won't be vlogging on that camera much, but probably just doing some shorts on my iPhone 8. Don't mind the glare, but like I'm the only seat on this bus which has a light that won't turn off. Not too irritating though, but as you can see, it just doesn't make my camera look too well. Yeah, so another bus to the airport, 15 quid each way. I'm getting a bus home Monday morning from the airport. It's just going to cost me like 15 quid. I mean, when you come to think about it, this trip to Ireland has cost me 33 quid in totals in flights. But then my ticket to and from the airport is also about 30-ish quid. They need to go back to making these buses cheaper, like they used to do many years ago. As I've said before, I used to only spend 2 quid to get a bus from Finchley Road to Stansted Luton, and that was like 2017, 18, 19. The times have changed. It's around 3:30 in the morning right now, waiting another 2 and a bit hours to get on my flight to Cork. I never thought in my entire life that I'd ever get on a plane to Ireland, but if I wasn't flying today, it would take me like a whole day of travel from London to Holyhead and then a boat over. Thought, you know, time is precious. I've only got 1 day off work. Let's fly to Cork for today and fly back in, what, less than 24 hours. I've never ever done a trip to another country within 24 hours. Like, most of my trips abroad in like the last couple of years have just been maybe like 2-day trips or 3-day trips. This one's just like 1 day. I just want to get to Cork, vlog Rory Gallagher's grave, go kiss that stone, that castle, get on a plane back to London. Maybe in a few weeks' time I'll be in the Isle of Man or Belfast. Finally got on the train that goes around Stansted Airport. It's either you'll be running to your gate, or you'll be using this train to get from the lounge to gates 1 to 19, and then gates to 38. All the other gates are walking from the lounge. So, as soon as you see the number, I'm ready to go. I'm going to get to the gate in time before it closes. Don't want to miss this flight. Just landed here in Cork. It's 7 in the morning, still dark. It's still the same temperature from London. Not too sure if you have to show a passport to get in or not. I show a passport to get on the plane though. or it could have been a driver's license, but first time ever flying to Ireland. So here I am, arrived at Cork Airport. Yes, I did have to show a passport to get into Ireland. I just glanced at it, which I think is a good thing, because if you fly from Britain to Ireland and you're not a UK EU citizen, well, you have a stamp in your passport. Just had a glance at the passport, it's easy. Anyway, just gonna wait for the bus. It's cost me €220. Basically, it's gonna get me from Cork Airport to Cork City. A bus over there that's gonna go all the way to Galloway. I'm not gonna go there today, maybe another time, but I just want to get to Rory Gallagher's grave today, and as well as that famous castle with the stone, you know. You kiss that, you get the gift of the gab. So, just gonna wait for the 255 or the 226 to come in the next few minutes or so. I nearly made a silly rookie mistake trying to use an ATM at the airport. Even if they're gonna like ask if you want to accept a currency exchange fee, you never say yes to it, you just decline it. But I thought to myself, wait, I'm in Ireland. I should not have to pay a fee to withdraw money out of here, even though they use a different currency. Maybe I do have to pay a withdrawal fee to take money out in France at an ATM. That's common, that's not my country, but UK, Ireland, you know, Barclay card should basically just be accepted. You should be able to take money out without any BS fees. On the bus, the 225, there's also 226. There's like 2 stops. Cork bus station and the train station. I'm gonna go for the bus station because it's closer to the Rory Gallagher Memorial Monument. So nearby I should be able to go to a pub and have an Irish fry up. Or maybe see what they got at McDonald's. But you know, I am feeling Irish today. Seeing the sunrise. Cork.
Please hold the handrails when the bus is moving or coming to a stop. Bergheim le the hull, and the law brawling, nor a thought on bus a glushok, nor a pound or spot.
And they have Gaelic language. My brother once said that if you want to teach in Ireland, you have to know Gaelic. Which is not unusual, I guess. Because most of the Gaelic speakers are just located in the west of the country. I mean, when I lived in Sydney, I went to a church in Borkham Hills, and there was an Irish lady, and every Pentecost she would say a passage of the Bible in Gaelic, and then she'd serve up a Irish stew with Guinness. Good morning, everybody. I'm in Cork, in the city centre. Yes, just got off the bus back there. €2.20 to go from the airport to Cork. Just gotta make sure I get on the bus in time to get me back to the airport tonight, even though my flight is not until 10 o'clock. Yeah, so this is my first time here in Cork, and I'm back in Ireland after nearly 9 years. I'm just thinking that most of these places are closed early Sundays, and they don't really open until a bit later, like 10 o'clock-ish, 12. I found a business that was going to be open for a Irish fry-up, I guess. Even though like the cost of the fry-up was like a staggering €15. I thought, do I really want to go to McDonald's here? You know, even though I have McDonald's for breakfast maybe once a month. It's probably just going to be the same, you know, old American crap. But at least I can say, hey, I had McDonald's in Ireland, which I didn't do last time I came here. So I just came here for the day because I got a day off work in London. I have been wanting to come to Cork for the last 2 years, but I have never really given myself the time to, you know, get on the plane, get over here. I always thought, do I spend a day here, or do I spend 2 days? Do I go up to Belfast? Do I go back to Dublin? I thought, after all the time I've hung out with Irish people in like the last couple of years, and I got a lot of friends of Irish descent, even though I don't have an Irish passport yet, it'll take me a couple of years. I think, I told myself that I would eventually come back to Ireland. Now, if I wanted to move here, I think I'd want to live in Dublin over Cork, because I believe there'd be a lot more jobs in Dublin. But rent would probably be maybe double than what I'm paying in London. There's always the saying, grass ain't always green on the other side, but well, who gives a fuck what other people think? Pardon my French. But yes, I would love to live on the island of Ireland, even if it was Northern Ireland, or even if it was Republic of Ireland. But then again, it would be the third island I've lived on after Australia, United Kingdom of Great Britain, and Ireland, yeah. So, had no idea how coastal Cork was. I can hear so many seagulls right now. Yeah, hear that? Seagulls calling. Streets are deserted. But I'm closing in on Rory Gallagher's memorial. Well, I had no idea there's going to be a Spoons here in Ireland, but I guess where the Spoons is in Ireland. I'll just wait for my Irish breakfast, which only cost me less than €5. Didn't really want to spend big today on an Irish fry-up. I'll go back to Dublin first. First, breakfast. I just left Wetherspoons right behind me. Breakfast was awful, just rubbish, cold. Didn't even put the effort into it. Cold breakfast is kind of what pissed me off and made me leave working in the Irish pub in London. No offense, it wasn't run by the Irish, but just run by idiots. Anyway, this is the Rory Gallagher place. Place Rory Gallagher, that's how you say it in Gaelic. This was installed a couple of years after Rory passed on. This basically says Rory Gallagher Tribute. At the back there, it's the shape of his Fender guitar. And it's got like a piece of wood there, and like branches coming out with his song titles. So say, feel like a loser, like a loose children. Kind of hard to read that. So, at peace. Yeah, so, I've never really listened to any of Roy's music. The only time I ever did that was when I was in Guernsey visiting my cousin. It tells me the 220 bus to Owen will come in the next 20 minutes. So, buses, I guess they run late or less on Sundays. It's typical. So, 20-minute wait for this bus, not too bad, at least I'm at the right location. Should take, it's like 8 kilometers from here to where Rory Gallagher's buried. He's not, I wouldn't really say he's buried in Cork, he's basically just buried on the outskirts of Cork. So you can easily just get a bus. I haven't got myself a leap card yet. I'm just basically just gonna hope they'll take my debit card. I'm sure that they're up to 21st century standards, or they'll just take cash from me. Just probably think it's just cheaper to just buy 2 singles rather than a day ticket. Then again, I still have to get a bus back to the airport tonight. 9:30 right now, so I just got on the bus in the heart of Cork. It's gonna take me about roughly, maybe it's like 16 minutes from Cork City to the cemetery where Rory's buried. Like, I've got to get off at Hilton Estate and walk 400 meters to the cemetery. It's in Carrigrahane in the west of Cork. God, I'm so goddamn tired. I was even falling asleep on the bus here. A little bit worried I was going to miss my stop and end up west of Cork. But here I am. Just down this road is the cemetery where the great Rory Gallagher is buried. I had to ask an Irish person, like, how do you pronounce it? Do you say Gallagher, Gallagher? And he said Gallagher. Yeah, just remember that was a famous Australian triathlete, Jackie Gallagher. I remember it. Yeah, so Rory was buried here when he passed away in 1995, I believe. I don't really understand why he's actually buried here, if he had much of a connection to Cork, because he was living in London in his last few years of life when he got sick, had a liver transplant, and sadly passed away from the illness that took his life away. He was as unmarried, didn't have any children, but his parents are still around, and so his mother's actually buried in the same plot as he is. I think his father might still be around. I'm not really too sure about what his father's backstory is. But Rory Gallagher rests here. It's kind of like with Phil Lynott. I mean, Phil Lynott was born in West Bromwich. His mother was Irish, and he was actually raised by his grandparents in Ireland. But actually, Phil Lynott died in Britain and was buried on the outskirts of Dublin in Sutton. So I visited Phil Lynott in 2015, Gary Moore in 2019, and in 2024 I get to visit Rory Gallagher. The three main legends of Irish musicians who have passed on in the last couple of years. I still need to visit Sinead O'Connor and that singer from the Cranberries, Doreen, but I'll get to that on another trip to Ireland. I'll have to go to Dublin and visit Sinead O'Connor. I'm not too sure where Doreen is buried, but I know her grave is really in a public cemetery. This road right behind me is a dead end. I can't get through to the cemetery that way. I was just basically following what Google Maps is telling me. Then the maps is like, oh, you're gonna have to cut through here to get into the grounds. And I'm like, there's no, kaja. That's how you say in Serbian. There's no, pathway to the cemetery. I remember many years ago, I was visiting when my great aunt Agnes is buried in Paisley on the outskirts of Glasgow. And there's actually a house built right next to the cemetery, and there's a special sign on the gate saying, "Do not inquire about burial records in this house. We have nothing to do with the cemetery." So it's like, why would you move into a house next to a cemetery if you are not affiliating with the upkeeping of this burial grounds? It's a bit crazy. I don't understand that maybe somebody would live in that house who maintains the graves and does all the, admin work and can keep files on people's burial records. But you'd had to have gone to a public register to look up somebody's burial plot rather than just go to the cemetery and try to find it yourself. I was able to find where my great aunt Agnes is buried thanks to me talking to her daughter on Messenger, and sadly I never got to meet her daughter in public, because, well, it's a bit uncovered about how my, grandfather left Scotland for Middlesbrough, and, kind of left behind his family and died in Middlesbrough. Then my dad left behind his family in Middlesbrough and moved to Australia. And my dad's still alive, but he's got nothing to do with Middlesbrough. So, if I can't get into the cemetery that way, I guess I probably have to walk around like this side. Maybe that's the proper way to get in. Oh boy, I just wish I didn't lose my beanie on the way to the airport. Pretty sure I've packed it rightly for this trip. Yes. So I'm sure maybe if I just go through this grounds, this turnoff, I should be able to get to the cemetery. Maybe not. Too sure if they have any, pathways for public access. So most cemeteries have a big main gate you drive into. Like every time I go visit Ian from Joy Division, Ian Curtis, yes, I always tend to get lost where he's buried. So this is actually a estate, so I guess I have to do another turn off here. Just taking a cut through that street to get to the cemetery, which is around here. I can see the tall fences, so I know I'm in the right area. It's really... all these houses seem to be new, in the last, maybe 10, 15, 20 years? I'm pretty sure the cemetery is old because Rory was buried there in the mid-90s, so it just seems like it's a new piece of land where if property has developed over time, built around a cemetery. So here it is. Finally found it. This is the reason I came to Cork today. I've been putting off this trip for so long. It's time I finally go and visit where Rory Gallagher is buried. Ta-da! Yes, all I need to do is find where Rory is buried. Here we are, St. Oliver's Cemetery. This is where Rory Gallagher rests. This is the main gate. Plaque was put up 2007. Shouldn't take me find. Shouldn't be hard to find where he's buried. When I was visiting Phil Lynott a couple of years ago, I asked the groundsman, when he pointed me in the direction, I said, yeah, it's the grave with the most flowers on it. So we're gonna be looking here. Oh, it's a map right there. Wonder if they've pinpointed where Rory's buried. Find a grave doesn't list what section of the cemetery that Rory is buried at. Bit of a shame, because sometimes they do go into detail about where a person is buried. They'll basically say, yeah, he's in this cemetery, he's in plot A, row 5, grave number 527. I just know that I know what Roy's grave looks like. It's a gold 5-figure statue, it's like 5 fingers. It's to symbolize that award he won in the 70s. I remember it was he won guitarist of the year for some sort of magazine in Ireland. So Rory must be buried somewhere nearby. Shouldn't be too hard to find. I found the grave of a Begley right here. Could be related to me because that's my ancestral surname of Begley, where my ancestor Michael actually came from Ireland, New Zealand. So, wow. So yeah, but I guess Begley is a common surname. I have a friend of mine in Australia with a surname Beckley, but he's not related to me. You never know. For all you people in Australia, we had a famous journalist called Molly Meldrum, or his real name was Ian. And so look, there's the grave of a Meldrum. I had no idea that Meldrum was an Irish surname. So, who knows? These could be his, Molly Meldrum's, Irish distant cousins. But we're here to find where Rory Gallagher is buried. Walking through the wet grass, new white shoes, and noticing all the amount of Irish surnames that I've actually grown up with in Australia. I like to think that after Britain, Australia has the second largest Irish population in the world, I believe. Ooh. I'll just stick to the footpath for the time being. It's a bit too personal to say where someone had lived. Look, he's not in a road, Mayfield, Cork, beloved wife and beloved mother. Why? One. I know some graves in the world basically say where a person was born and died. That is relevant, but come on, you don't want to get into the detail. Yeah. I'm gonna look for gold statue. Gold. It's gotta be around here somewhere. I mean, this isn't really a big cemetery. It's not like Highgate. I mean, Highgate would be double this size, but I don't want to compare it to Rookwood in Sydney, where I grew up. That's like the largest cemetery in the Southern Hemisphere, I believe. So, still looking for Rory Gallagher. Lovely. Got some hurling sticks. Yeah, that's definitely hurling. I don't think that is about hockey. So it's very sweet to honour a hurling player. Yes. Most of these tombstones aren't really that old, but I did find some graves in the 1980s. But, oh my god, looking over here, I have found it. Too easy. This is the grave of Rory Gallagher, born in 1948, and I believe he passed away, it was like 1995, yes. And we've got his mother also buried here, and she passed away the 14th of August 2005, so not long after Roy died. A few monuments. There's someone had, I can see the Latvian flag on that one. Your brilliant music will be forever in the hearts from your fans. And there's guitar picks. We've got some signs here. We've got a plastic guitar. It's very cute. Got more guitars. Roy number plates. Oh, this one, look. I came out to what was left of the concert hall after you, Jerry, and Ted completely demolished the place. Feel like I spent the last 2 hours in a spin dryer. From that day, I never missed one of your shows whenever you came to Paris, or up to the last one in the Paris Olympia a few months before you tragically left us. 40 years after I first saw you, I am now here at your resting place to convey my most profound respects to you. In my life I've seen many bands and musicians, but nobody came anywhere near your talent, your stage presence, your generosity, of your warmth. Hardly a day goes by without me listening to your music. I want to thank you, and I think I can't speak for all your many fans in France, for all the joy and fabulous memories that you left us with your incomparable music and concerts. Rest in eternal peace. From a French fan. So wow, that is a total dedication for a man who's travelled from France to Ireland to visit the grave of Rory Gallagher. I wish I kind of left a note like that at Johnny Clegg's grave when I was in South Africa 2 years ago. Maybe I should go back and leave a note like this, just to say that, dear Johnny, your music has changed my life in many ways. I discovered your music through a South African lady. But we're all focusing on the one and only Rory Gallagher. Rory, looking forward to rocking with you at the Great Gig in the Sky. CSAGDDJT, Tempest Fergus, Ballymore. And then people left some, a CD? Like, not a Rory Gallagher CD, but like one of those burnable CDs, and there's still some guitar picks, and there's some notes. So don't mind me stepping on where Rory is buried, but this is where our legend is buried. The one and only Rory Gallagher. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go call it a day. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Got another 11 hours or so until my flight home. So, just had a really good morning finding where Rory is buried. So proud I've came out to Ireland to visit his final resting place. Maybe I'll go back to London this evening, put on some Rory Gallagher. I said to my cousin in New Zealand, play some Rory Gallagher for me today while I'm at his grave. I'm Martin the Metalhead. I'm over and out.